Hi everyone. I decided to start making videos of me making stuff. For those of you who follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you know I'm a wood sculptor. I make all kinds of stuff. Classical sculptures, egg chairs, crossbows, everything. I'm a tinkerer too. And so I just wanted to start making videos of me doing stuff, showing people how I make stuff. Not that I'm an expert or anything. I'm great at improvising or rednecking things together. Today I want to make my friend a Christmas present. It's a brass hammer, so I wanted to show you how I do it. I don't, if you know of a better way to do it, I really don't want to hear about it. I'm using a piece of brass that I got at the local metal supply. They have a thing called the artist bin where they sell all this cheap metal. And I thought, oh, I'm an artist. Hey, that's so I got this. And did I already say brass hammer? I'm making a brass hammer. That's what I'm doing. And I'm using an old handle from a pitchfork. Hickory. Hickory is very good for handles. It's a hardwood, it's got long, straight grain, and it's good for, it's very shock resistant. It's good for hitting stuff. That's why we use it for tool handles, shovel handles, hammer handles, all kinds of cool stuff. So, here we go. To cut the brass stock, I'm going to use a lathe. Can't remember where I found this. These old school belt-driven lathes are awesome. They don't die. This one's probably 70 years old. And you can find them for next to nothing on Craigslist. So, as you can see here, I put the brass in a chuck. I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to use my high-end Ryobi grinder here to cut it while it's spinning. This isn't ideal. I'm sure there are better ways to do it, and like I said, if you know of one, I really don't want to hear about it. That's how I'm doing it. So, the reason I'm doing it this way is because when you're cutting round stock, it's really hard to keep it straight, to get a straight cut on it. And so that's why I'm spinning it and putting a blade on it as it's spinning. I'm using this grinder because it's a lot faster. My dad used to actually cut gun barrels this way, and you can get a really pretty precise cut with this. This is a wood lathe, and I don't have a metal lathe, so part of the point of this show, whatever you call this, YouTube video, is, sometimes you have to improvise. I don't have a full shop here. I live in Southern California. Real estate's like ridiculously expensive, so I gotta make do with what I have. And I have an old wood lathe off of Craigslist that I love. So, here we go. Safety first, remember. That's why I use these cheap earbuds as ear protection in the shop at all times. And this face shield I got at Harbor Freight. And there you have it. Safe, you ask? Hell no. Effective? Yes. We have our hammerhead, and it's pretty square. I messed it up a little bit there. The blade on my grinder was turning the same direction as the lathe, which was slowing it down, so I tried to reverse it, and I marred it up. But I'll get that out with a little bit of sandpaper and some buffing compound. Now I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Stay away from this part. That's a one-way trip to the emergency room. In fact, now that we're on the subject, don't do anything I do at home, okay? I'm just showing you that it can be done. Extra fine steel wool. Yeah, baby. I don't even know if that's doing anything. I just felt like saying that. Yeah. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So I'm going to turn it around and do the other side now. On these hammers, it's important not to leave it completely square. You want to kind of round the edges a little bit so it doesn't leave marks. But this is a brass hammer. This is really used to hit steel pieces and not dent them. Brass is softer than steel, so the whole point is that it dents this and not the piece that you're working on if you're trying to knock a bolt loose or something and don't want to screw up the threads. So now I'm going to do the other side. Hit it with the file, make sure that's in there straight because this chuck sucks. I hit it with the file, then the 150, then all this other stuff. Here we go. Remember, don't be like me. Don't get your hand stuck in this big metal skinny part. It sucks. You end up having to get part of your thumb sewn back together. But that's a story for another day. 150. Extra fine steel wool. Available only on the internet and everywhere else they sell it. All right, that's pretty good. So here we have what's going to be the hammerhead. So, to drill the hole for the hammerhead, we're going to put it in my little mini vise here. But we don't want to damage the brass while we're doing that, so I'm going to cut this little piece of cardboard. You can use a rag, but that may well get caught in the drill press and tear your whole arm off. And life sucks with one arm. I'm pretty sure. I'm grateful that I have two arms, but I'm pretty sure that sucked to have one arm. So, with our hammerhead shape complete, we need to put a hole in. So here I'm putting it in a little mini vise, and I'm going to use a drill press because it's really hard to get a perfect 90-degree hole in anything cylindrical. But you don't need all this. Here we use what we have. Luckily I have a mini vise and a drill press. You can also use a pair of vice grips, a wood clamp, whatever you have, and you know, you do what you have to. You get it as straight as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a hammer. A hammer is not a precision tool. I made a mini dwarf hammer years ago for wood carving. The idea was I wouldn't put too much stress on my wrist with one of the bigger, heavier mallets, and I could just do this. You do this for hours and hours and hours. But I used myrtle because I thought it looked cool, and it wasn't strong enough, and it broke. This time we're using hickory, which is great for what we're doing. So I'm going to put a little mark in the center here to mark the hole and get the drill bit started and drill my hole. 2 3/8. This is 2 3/8 long, half of which is 1 3/16. Marked our center line. Bam, Felicia. Also, I didn't get that lathe on Craigslist. I told you I got it from my roommate. That's what years of drug abuse will do to you. You do and say some really weird shit. Okay, here we go. So, you know how I said we were going to drill one hole? We're actually going to drill 2 holes. We've had a change of plans. My video editor didn't think it was important to point that out, but he's an idiot. So, I'll show you why after we're done. Okay, here we go. He's not an idiot. That was really mean. I love him very much. Always wear eye protection when you're using a drill press. I've built up calluses on my eyeballs over the years, so I don't need them. But the rest of you out there, definitely wear eye protection. And don't get your hands anywhere near the drill bit. Hole number 1 is complete, and I don't feel like going to get a rag, so I'm going to use my fingers for this. Now, lining up hole number 2 should be really interesting. Which, oddly enough, was that easy. Wow. Okay. Here we go. So I drilled 2 holes instead of 1, because as you can see, this one broke, and I didn't want that to happen again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Dremel out the middle here, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more meat on our handle. There's a sexual innuendo in there somewhere. Dremel bit. Observe. Can you even see that? There you go. I believe they make these for grout removal on tile. They're awesome. I use them for wood, details in wood carving and stuff, and they work great for soft metals like brass. I think you can use them on steel, like thin steel and stuff. I don't know. They're awesome. That's what I'm using. Here we go. We're going to take a quick time out. I need more light. Welcome back, folks. Okay, so here is our hole. I've made this side slightly bigger than this side, and I'll show you why in a minute. Now we got our hole, and I'm going to clean it up with this, a sanding cylinder, I believe is what these call. Sanding drum, a miniature sanding drum. Here we go. Safety first. This way you can pipe in some tunes, Skynyrd or, whatever you're into. All right, I'm happy with that. Perfect? No. Functional? Yes. So I told you I was going to explain why this hole is beveled and bigger on one side. I have spent the last 3 hours on AutoCAD drawing up a schematic. So, this is the hammerhead. Put the wood handle up through the hole, as you can see here, wood handle. And then we drive a wedge down into the top of the handle. So it creates a trapezoidal shape, which makes it a strong bond. That way the hammerhead won't go flying off and hit your neighbor in the head when he's annoying you because you're trying to make a video for YouTube. Here is a hickory pitchfork handle that I cut off. The whole point of this show is to get you guys to get out there and do something with your hands. If you don't have a lathe, use a hacksaw. You get a hacksaw for $8 at Harbor Freight, probably. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this yet, but we'll figure it out as we go, because that's what we do here. Let's get to work. Here we go. Ha-ha! Thank God for electricity. Okay. Now, I need to figure out how long to make this handle. Since this is a present for my friend, it was supposed to be a surprise until he showed up today in my backyard, who also happens to be my video editor. We'll ask him. How long do you think? About that long? Just a little hammer. I'll make it that long. And there we go. Now we have our stock, we can put it on the lathe. Now we're gonna make the handle. Gonna make the top of the handle the same diameter as the length of this bottom hole, the smaller one. So, here's the handle I made on the lathe. I made it so this is the same diameter as this is. Long ways. It's round, so it won't fit in. And I used a lathe because they're cool and I wanted this cool shape. If you don't have a lathe, you don't need one. Take a piece of wood, mark out the shape you want for your handle. This is a lot harder than it looks. You can sort of see that. And then just use a jigsaw and cut it out. You don't need big, fancy, expensive tools like my high dollar 70-year-old piece of crap lathe over there. So what I'm going to do next is mark the shape out in here with a pencil, like so. So there, here, I'll make it a little bolder so you can see it. Is our rough shape. And I'm going to use chisels and knives and stuff to get that shape. But always make it bigger because you can always make things a little smaller. You can't make it too small and then make it bigger. Okay. Don't ever cut towards yourself. Like I said before, don't do anything I do. I'm a bad example. I do what works. But if you're not careful, you can really hurt yourself. And I, ladies and gentlemen, have the scars to prove it. Okay, after much ado and cussing, I shaved down the thingy on top until it fit in the hole. So, we're getting there. This is almost a cool hammer. I'm gonna put a couple of shims in the top. I'm gonna cut the top this way and put a couple of shims in. And I don't like how it sits proud right here and right here, so I'm going to shave the handle down this way a little bit. I could have used a bandsaw for this, or a bandsaw, belt sander for this, but I wanted to show you guys that you don't need a lot of tools for this. I just used an X-Acto knife and it worked just fine. Okay, here we go. Pretty close. Okay. After a lot of sanding and a lot of cussing, we have a respectable looking hammer. So, I'm going to put a clear coat on the handle before I go any further, and then that leaves, we're going to cut this off flush with the top, and then we're going to wedge the top to give it strength. But we are getting there. Okay, so got the handle finished, got a decent looking handle that I kind of like. It's pretty cool. I cut the top. Is that square? No. Will it be effective? Let's hope so. So I'm going to hammer a shim down into there using regular wood glue. There's probably a better tried and true method out there somewhere, and I'm sure you got comments up the wazoo to give me. Keep it to yourself. We're using wood glue. So before we do that, I'm going to put a protective something or other. I'm going to MacGyver something up to protect the top of this hammer before we get to doing all that. So, I'll be right back. And I'm back. I made a protecty thingy out of an aluminum can that I just wrapped around and taped. Because I want to try to sand this flush when I'm done, and I don't want to damage the head. Here we go. Glue. Cut thingy. Can I cut this over? Make sure I got glue everywhere. More is better, I guess. Or maybe not. I just build stuff. Most of what I do is an experiment. And not just here in the workshop either. I mean, every aspect of my life. Okay, so, hammer it in. I don't like the way you're going in. Okay, now we're getting it. It's starting to come off. So, we gotta tell it to go home. Let's see what I did here. I made this. Some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so. Oh, you probably can't even see what I'm doing. Gotta move this. And we're back. 2 more shims. That I custom made myself on my table saw out of that same hickory handle we were using before. I appreciate y'all watching. I just decided, you know, I like making videos, and there's just something really cool about making something. And I have a really good friend. Christmas is coming up. You know, it's easy to go out and buy someone's shit, but this is the United States. The last thing anyone needs really is more shit. So I thought I'd make him some. Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay, that looks pretty good. Here's my brace, my glue bottle. We'll saw those babies off. A ninja saw. I don't know why I call it a ninja saw. I used to use it for flooring work, for undercutting door jams, and one of the guys on the job site, Luis, called it the ninja saw. So the name stuck, and now this is the ninja saw. Okay, I'm gonna clean that up. Probably using a Dremel bit. Gonna go find that. Be right back. And we're back. You know, I got to thinking, why not go old school here and just use a freaking file? Especially a file that's probably not designed for wood. Not everyone has a Dremel. So we're gonna go old school on it. My buddy CJ This is a gift for him for Christmas. But seeing as how he showed up in the middle of me making it, he now knows what he's getting for Christmas. And he better act surprised when he gets it if he knows what's good for him. So we're just trying to make this flush. And I can do this without damaging the head because I made the cool aluminum can protecty thing for the head. I gotta say, it's working. It's all working. It's all happening, as the girl said from Almost Famous. It's all happening. We're almost there, you know, and I'm actually pretty happy with the results here. So, pretty cool. Never really made a hammer before, except that little one that you saw that broke. Lesson learned, don't use ornamental wood where structural wood is needed. Okay, looks pretty good. It's starting to mar the aluminum, which tells me it's flush. Hitting it with a little sandpaper for good measure. Looks good. I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to take this thing off. I don't want to bore the crap out of you. Hello. So, it came out pretty good. The aluminum can shield thingy made it so that this is just a little proud. It's not quite flush. So I'm going to work some magic with this. Just a regular old box cutting knife or razor blade or whatever. I don't think I have steady enough hands to use a Dremel for this. Plus, you know, we like old school around here. The brass is really soft and it's easy to mark up. But overall, I think that came out pretty good. Hi everyone. So here we are. Cleaned it up. I'm pretty happy with the end result. Little simple present I'm gonna give to my friend for Christmas, who watched me make part of it. Really what I'm doing here is I wanted to make a quick, simple video. I want to start making process videos, step by step, of my wood sculpture and egg chairs and kaleidoscopes and crossbows and, you know, everything I make. So, like and subscribe if you were entertained. If not, like and subscribe anyway. I'll put my Instagram and Facebook and all that in the bio. And I appreciate you watching very much. Thank you. Love you guys. Good night.